Good morning, gentlemen. What if I told you the way you start the day could be silently sabotaging your prostate? In the next few minutes, I'm going to expose 8 harmless habits that may be turning your bladder into a ticking time bomb. For decades, I've watched men over 60 hardworking fathers, veterans, CEOs blame age for the 3 a.m. bathroom dash, the weak stream, the gnawing pelvic pressure that steals their sleep. Yet the real culprits often unfold before breakfast, postponing that first trip to the restroom, slamming a scalding 16-ounce black coffee on an empty stomach, or swallowing an over-the-counter decongestant laced with pseudoephedrine that locks your bladder like a vault. Add dehydrated urine fiberless toast and a recliner marathon that freezes pelvic circulation, and you've created the perfect storm for inflammation. Constipation. That's a loaded cannon aimed straight at your prostate. Bacon sausage and ham salt-packed fuel for the fire. These choices pile pressure on a walnut-sized gland already battling decades of wear. The good news, swap just one habit tomorrow morning, and you could reclaim steady flow, deeper sleep, and genuine peace of mind. Stay with me, I'll show you how. Stop scrolling. Answer this first. Did you already feel that familiar fullness in your lower belly this morning and tell yourself, "I'll go later"? If so, you've just opened the door to the most common and most underestimated threat to a healthy prostate, routinely holding your urine too long after you wake up. Picture Jim, a 67-year-old retiree from Des Moines who prided himself on mental toughness. Every dawn he'd shuffle to the kitchen, brew a 12-ounce mug of dark roast, skim the headlines, and then finally visit the bathroom. 6 months later, he was in my office, exhausted by nighttime urgency, embarrassed by dribbling and clutching a referral slip for a urologic catheter. Here's what happens inside your bladder is engineered to store roughly 16 fluid ounces, about 2 cups, before signaling the brain to empty. Ignore that signal and pressure climbs like steam in a sealed kettle. The detrusor muscle stretches beyond its comfort zone, the same way a worn-out bungee cord loses snap. Do this day after day, and the muscle fibers weaken, leaving residual urine prime real estate for bacteria. Men over 60 already face diminished immune surveillance. Concentrated stagnant urine doubles their risk of urinary tract infections and triples the odds of acute urinary retention. The painful emergency that lands so many seniors in the ER, begging for relief, while a catheter snakes its way past an already swollen prostate. The danger doesn't stop at infection. Strained bladder walls transmit force downward, squeezing a gland the size of a walnut into inflamed submission. Over time, that pressure fuels the very enlargement that woke you at 3 a.m. last night. It's a vicious loop. Hesitate now, suffer, later hesitate, again suffer more. All because a decades-old habit told you that a man's day should start with coffee, news, or prayer. Anything but an immediate walk to the toilet. So here's your new non-negotiable rule from bed to bathroom in 5 minutes or less. Make it the first line in your senior health tracker app. Set an audible alarm if you must. Empty early, empty completely, and you'll feel the difference in 7 days steadier flow. Fewer night wakings, lighter pelvic pressure. Skip it and you may join Jim on the long, cold ride to the hospital where no cup of coffee will make up for the pain of a tube and a missed opportunity. Let me ask you something, and be honest. Was your first drink this morning a strong black cup of coffee, no food, just caffeine? If yes, you're not alone and you're not safe. That harmless morning ritual could be quietly setting your prostate on fire. Here's what most men over 60 never get told. Coffee on an empty stomach isn't a wake-up call, it's an assault. Caffeine is a diuretic, meaning it forces your kidneys to flood your bladder with urine. For a younger man, that might just mean a few extra bathroom trips. But for a man with even mild prostate enlargement, it's a recipe for urgency dribbling and that frustrating sense of never quite emptying. Even worse, caffeine tightens the muscles around the bladder neck and prostate, narrowing the passage that urine needs to flow through. It's like trying to push water through a garden hose that's half pinched. But it doesn't stop there. That first jolt of black coffee, especially when taken without food, spikes cortisol, your body's stress hormone. Elevated cortisol contributes to systemic inflammation, including inflammation of the prostate. Add to that the fact that hot beverages can stimulate nerve endings in the bladder wall and make you feel like you have to go, even when there's barely anything there, and suddenly your morning boost becomes a direct attack on your urinary piece. This isn't fear-mongering, it's biology. I've had dozens of older male patients tell me, "Doc, it's like the coffee runs right through me." And they're right, it does. But in men over 60, that urgency can trigger embarrassment, sleep disruption, and even social withdrawal. All because of a habit they thought was harmless. So what's the fix? Simple: never make coffee your first drink of the day. Start instead with 8-10 ounces of warm water or mild herbal tea to hydrate your system and calm your bladder. Then, if you must have coffee, drink it with breakfast, not before. And try a lighter roast or half-caff option. Your prostate will thank you. Don't let an innocent mug be the reason you're racing to the restroom. Adjust your morning rhythm and you may just regain the calm, steady mornings you forgot were possible. Quick check. Before you brushed your teeth this morning, did you drink even one sip of water? If not, your prostate woke up drier, tighter, and angrier than it needed to be, and the consequences can stick with you all day. Most men over 60 cut fluids in the morning because they fear sprinting to the restroom. Ironically, that strategy backfires. When you rise from 7 hours of sleep, you're already dehydrated. Skip hydration and your kidneys concentrate waste into a dark acidic stream that scalds the bladder lining. That irritation triggers urgency stinging and incomplete emptying, a perfect storm for prostate flare-ups. I once treated Frank, a 72-year-old former truck driver who prided himself on no pit stops. He'd wake down a single gulp of coffee and drive 2 hours before his first restroom break. By lunchtime, he felt a dull ache behind his pubic bone and assumed it was old man pains. Lab work told another story: concentrated urine high inflammation markers and early signs of chronic prostatitis. The prescription wasn't pills. It was water 8 ounces within 15 minutes of waking, another 8 with breakfast, then tapering after 6 p.m. Within 2 weeks, Frank's flow improved. His urgency calmed, and he slept through the night for the first time in years. Here's the physiology. Adequate hydration dilutes urine, lowering its acidity and reducing friction against the urethra. A well-hydrated bladder empties smoothly, placing less downward pressure on the walnut-sized prostate. Water also boosts blood volume, delivering oxygen and anti-inflammatory nutrients to pelvic tissues that spend most of the day compressed in chairs or car seats. Worried about nighttime trips? Front load. Drink 8-10 fluid ounces of room temperature water, add a squeeze of lemon for alkalinity as soon as you stand up. Log it in your senior health tracker. Follow with breakfast, then sip modestly until mid-afternoon. You'll spend fewer evenings pacing to the toilet and more nights in restorative sleep where testosterone climbs and healing begins. Ignore morning hydration and you set a silent fire that caffeine, salt, and stress will stoke until dusk. Quench it early, and your prostate gains a calm, cool start that echoes through every hour that follows. Pause your scroll before you even think about melting butter on that stack of white toast. Ask a brutal question. Where's the fiber? Skipping it at breakfast jumpstarts a traffic jam inside your abdomen that crushes your prostate all day long. Fiber isn't just a heart-healthy buzzword. For men past 60, it's the pressure release valve between comfort and misery. Picture your pelvis as a 2-lane street. The colon owns the inside lane, while your bladder and walnut-sized prostate occupy the other. Now imagine an 18-wheeler of backed-up stool parking across the center line. Every minute it idles there, it crowds nerves, sparks inflammation, and strangles urinary flow. I watched it happen to Harold, 70, former Marine champion of the no-fuss breakfast, 2 fried eggs, and black coffee. By lunchtime, he felt a concrete block behind his zipper. By sundown, he was beet red on the toilet veins bulging. Straining so hard his watch sounded a high heart rate alert. The CT scan wasn't cancer. It was a colon so jammed it resembled Los Angeles at rush hour, grinding his prostate against bone. My prescription wasn't a pill. It was a spoon, 1-2 cup steel-cut oats, 1 tablespoon chia, a handful of blueberries, 8 first thing grams of mixed soluble and insoluble fiber, 2 weeks later, Harold's bowels moved like clockwork, pelvic pressure eased, and he slept through the night without sprinting to the bathroom. Here's the biology in plain English. Soluble fiber draws water, forming a slippery gel that escorts waste. Insoluble fiber adds bulk, triggering rhythmic contractions that sweep the colon clean. No strain means no overflow pressure squeezing the prostate. The American benchmark is 25-30 grams of fiber per day. Start with 7-10 grams at breakfast recorded in your senior health tracker and increase by 2-gram increments weekly to avoid gas. Swap white toast for 100% whole wheat stir flax into yogurt or blend a prune banana smoothie, your choice, as long as it moves the needle. Then hit save, so tomorrow's you can thank today's you. Miss this step and the internal traffic backs up again inch by inch until midnight finds you hunched over the sink, wide awake, cursing a job your colon should have finished at dawn. Reach for fiber early and watch the road clear, giving your prostate the breathing room it has begged for all these years. Here's a hard truth. Few doctors will tell you that crispy strip of bacon on your breakfast plate might taste like comfort, but to your prostate, it's pure inflammation on a fork. Every morning, millions of seniors sit down to the same routine: sausage links, ham slices, buttery toast. It feels traditional, familiar, satisfying. But what you don't see is what's happening inside your body. Processed meats like bacon, ham, and sausage are packed with saturated fats, sodium nitrates, and preservatives, all of which trigger silent inflammation. For men over 60 with an already enlarged prostate, that inflammation is gasoline on a slow-burning fire. Let me explain why. Your prostate sits in a tight, delicate neighborhood surrounded by your bladder, pelvic nerves, and key blood vessels. When inflammation hits the prostate, swells and presses outward. That pressure pinches the urethra, tightens the bladder neck, and suddenly your urine stream weakens. Frequency spikes, and those 3 a.m. bathroom trips become your new normal. And the worst part, you don't feel the damage happening until it's already disrupted your sleep, your comfort, and your life. I had a patient, Richard, 67, retired firefighter, who came to me exhausted, frustrated. His prostate was inflamed and his cholesterol levels were through the roof. When we looked at his food journal there, it was sausage every morning, ham sandwiches at lunch. The fix wasn't a prescription. It was a breakfast overhaul. We replaced his meat with 2 boiled eggs, half an avocado, and a sprinkle of pumpkin seeds. Within 3 weeks, his nighttime urination dropped from 5 times to 2, his energy rebounded, and his blood markers improved. Here's the shift you need. Ditch the processed meats. Choose lean proteins like eggs or plain Greek yogurt. Add unsalted nuts or plant-based sausage with no nitrates or added sodium. You're not giving up flavor, you're swapping out what's quietly stealing your health for foods that support healing. And if you miss that savory kick, a pinch of turmeric and black pepper on eggs gives you that same satisfaction without the inflammation. Bottom line, your prostate doesn't need tradition, it needs protection. And that starts with what's on your plate. Make the switch today. Your bladder, your sleep, and your future self will thank you. Before you sink into that easy chair to watch the morning news, answer this in your head. How long have you been motionless since breakfast? 10 minutes, 20, an entire hour. Every extra minute is like stacking a brick of pressure onto your prostate, and you don't feel the damage until it's carved into your daily routine. Take Walter, 69, a retired accountant who believed resting the legs was the ultimate reward after oatmeal and coffee. His ritual plate, down recliner, back remote, in hand, half an hour of cable headlines. 3 years later, he walked into my clinic complaining that his stream had slowed to a crawl and his pelvis felt heavy like carrying a brick. Imaging revealed pelvic vein congestion and early signs of chronic prostatitis, not from food or genetics, but from a habit that starved his gland of movement. Here's what your body endures when you sit: your hip flexors tighten, tilting the pelvis forward and compressing the veins and lymph channels that drain the prostate. Blood flow slows. Inflammation chemicals linger like traffic on the 405. Meanwhile, your glutes, the powerhouse muscles that pump venous blood back toward the heart, switch off. Within 20 minutes, oxygen delivery to pelvic tissues can drop by up to 50%. Do that day after day, and the prostate swells, the urethra narrows, and your bladder works overtime to push urine through a passage the width of a straw. The fix is simpler than most prescriptions stand and move every 20 minutes. Set your phone or the Senior Health Tracker app to vibrate. When it buzzes, rise march in place, stretch your quads, or walk one loop around the kitchen, 90 seconds, that's it. Add a 5-minute stroll outside after breakfast. Even a slow quarter-mile laps the block pumps fresh oxygen-rich blood through pelvic vessels, sweeping out inflammatory waste before it takes root. Walter traded his recliner routine for a standing desk pad and 3 10-minute walks spaced through the morning. 6 weeks later, his heaviness eased, his stream strengthened, and he slept through the night without the 2 a.m. dash. Motion is medicine for the prostate. Make it non-negotiable, and every step becomes a quiet victory against the chair that's been stealing your health. You probably don't even notice it, but if you're skipping your morning bowel movement, your prostate notices. And it's not happy. It starts subtle. Maybe you're rushing. Maybe you don't feel the urge. Or maybe you just haven't made it a priority. But here's the problem when you ignore your body's natural rhythm. First thing in the morning, you're setting off a chain reaction that puts direct physical pressure on your prostate all day long. Let me explain. After you wake, your digestive system is primed for movement. That first bowel movement is your body's way of clearing space in your lower abdomen space your bladder and prostate desperately need. But when stool remains in the colon, it presses forward, crowding the pelvic region and squeezing your already swollen prostate. The result? A narrowed urinary pathway, more frequent urgency, and the worst part, straining. Straining doesn't just hurt your bowels. It can inflame the nerves and blood vessels around your prostate, compounding discomfort and triggering longer-term inflammation. I had a patient, Ron, 65, ex-military, never one to complain. He told me he hadn't had a consistent bowel routine in over a year. His main symptoms, pelvic pressure, weak flow, and incomplete emptying. He thought it was just getting older. But once we dialed in his morning bathroom habits, everything began to shift. Here's what I told Ron, and now I'll tell you. Start your day with 8-10 ounces of warm water. Eat a fiber-rich breakfast oats, chia seeds, or half a pear. Then this is key. Sit on the toilet around the same time each morning, even if you don't feel the urge. No phone, no distractions. Breathe deeply. Relax. You're training your body back into rhythm. Regular bowel movements relieve internal pressure, improve pelvic circulation, and ease prostate symptoms naturally. So don't treat your bathroom time as optional. Treat it like brushing your teeth, non-negotiable. Because when your colon is backed up, your prostate can't breathe. And when your prostate can't breathe, your whole day suffers. This one habit, often ignored, is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward real, lasting relief. Make it count. You might think that cold or allergy pill is harmless. But if you're a man over 60, that tiny tablet could be silently wrecking your prostate before you've even finished your morning coffee. Here's the truth most men never hear. The over-the-counter decongestant you reach for, especially in the morning, is one of the most dangerous things you can take if you have an enlarged prostate. Why? Because many common cold, flu, and allergy medications contain ingredients like pseudoephedrine or phenylephrine. While these compounds are great at clearing a stuffy nose, they come at a steep cost. They tighten the muscles in your bladder, neck, and prostate. That means if you already struggle with a weak stream, urgency, dribbling, or incomplete emptying, these pills don't help. They make it worse. Much worse. I've seen it firsthand. One of my patients, John, 71 years old, fit alert, dealing with seasonal allergies, ended up in the ER one morning after taking 2 decongestant tablets. His bladder locked up. Couldn't urinate for hours. He needed a catheter just to relieve the pressure. What shocked him most wasn't the pain, it was that nobody had ever warned him this was even a risk. That's why I'm warning you now. If you're a man over 60 with even mild prostate enlargement, check every label before you take a cold or allergy med. If it lists pseudoephedrine or phenylephrine, put it back, even if you've used it before without trouble. Prostate sensitivity increases with age. What your body tolerated at 50 can turn dangerous at 65. So what can you do instead? Opt for natural remedies or prostate-safe antihistamines recommended by your doctor. Rinse your sinuses with saline. Use a humidifier. And if you're unsure, talk to your physician before taking anything new. It might seem like a small pill, but for your prostate, it's a big mistake. Morning habits matter, and this is the one that could send you to the hospital or help you stay in control. Read your labels. Know what you're putting in your body. And when in doubt, don't gamble with your prostate health. Your habits shape your health, especially the ones you don't think twice about. As men, we're taught to tough it out, to ignore discomfort, to power through. But after 60, the body keeps the score. And when it comes to prostate health, what you do every morning isn't just routine, it's either quiet damage or quiet healing. Holding in your pee. Skipping hydration. Taking decongestants without reading the label. These aren't small things. They're daily decisions with long-term consequences. But here's the good news. Small intentional changes can make a massive difference. Choosing water before coffee. Moving your body after breakfast. Emptying your bladder first thing. These aren't drastic shifts, they're acts of self-respect. Of saying, I'm not done yet. My body still matters. I still matter. Health in your 60s and beyond isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. It's about choosing habits that help your body heal, not habits that force it to fight. So take 5 minutes tomorrow morning to check in with yourself. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Because taking care of your prostate isn't just about bathroom trips. It's about protecting your freedom, your dignity, and your quality of life. Every single day. If this message spoke to you, even just one part of it, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a comment below and let me know which habit you're ready to change first. Save this video so you can come back to it when you need a reminder. And if you care about staying healthy, sharp, and in control as you age, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. We're building a space where men over 60 can take charge of their health without shame, without confusion, and without being ignored. You're not alone. And your best years aren't behind you. They're still yours to protect.